Hey guys, what's up? It's Chaz Crab, your host, and you are listening to the Trial by Error Variety Show. We are on Volume 4 of our March Mad Metalness series, and before I jump into it, I just want to give out a big thank you to the people that have helped so far. Justin Knight and William Anderwald from Whiskey Ignition, Garrett Day, of course my girlfriend Stacy, and the person who composed this theme song right here, my great friend David Fitzgerald, and the Destroyer of Worlds from San Antonio, Texas. This song here is available on bandcamp.com.
Is to watch for our
Is it airborne?
unbelievable hunger.
Regenerates dead tissue.
Health hazard or military concern.
Is to shoot them in the head.
To avoid becoming a victim of an attack.
Again, to remain calm and wait for further instructions from authorities.
And we are officially getting into it. We are back, Volume 4, like I said in the lead-in there. We are talking to Thrashing Mossdog from Long Beach, California. We talked to James Goldmann, who is a very ambitious young fella, and he's got a ton of different projects. I mean, you'll hear from this interview. He's got at least 3 active bands, and then his roommate's got bands, and so the kid is just completely immersed in music, and it's really just a hobby. He's not trying to do this for money. He's not trying to do this for fame. This particular project here, although it is very true to the genre and very true to the source itself, as it represents just a ton of different musical stylings. And hats off to James for this creation. You guys can find Thrashing Mossdog on bandcamp.com, of course, and he's putting out a new album every month. I don't want to give up too much because we do talk about quite a bit here in this intro. So without further ado, enjoy the show.
Check. Can you
There
hear me
you
now?
are. Yeah.
Oh.
We are
Figured it out.
talking to James Goldmann from Thrashing Mossdog. I'm under the impression, based on the information on your Bandcamp, that this is a personal challenge in a way. Are we correct in that?
Yes.
Very
Yep,
cool.
it is. Yeah, I basically woke up at the beginning of this year, and while I do a ton of music crap, I felt like personally I hadn't been writing a whole lot. So I set a challenge for myself, which was very, very general. Just write more music. That was like my New Year's resolution. And then as I got a little further into January, I realized that that was a little too broad. So I reset my challenge to 15 minutes of music per month. And that's where Thrashing Mossdog was born. I just have my little home studio here and decided that I wanted to put out a 15-minute EP every month for the entirety of 2018. So I'm 2 deep now, working on my 3rd, and just going to keep going as long as I can.
Very awesome. Well, it's it's very cool. You challenge yourself, and you went to this depth because it's really put together very well. All of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, for a solo project for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely stressful. I didn't quite realize what I was getting myself into until after I started writing, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a lot." But I think it's been coming out pretty good. There's definitely some
what's
dips
the
here and
response
there
been?
in terms of like. Response has been pretty good. I mean, I'm not really marketing it at all. Like, I kind of just post on my Facebook page. I'm just like, there's a new EP, and then it just gets put out there. But the Rate Your Music community has responded pretty well to it. I guess that a lot of those fine folk just kind of cruise on the metal Bandcamp genres and find the new stuff that comes out. And that's gotten picked up. And I think that just generally seeing that, oh, this dude's putting out, an EP every single month for the year, kind of gets a little bit of attention on its own, regardless of if it's good or not. Just kind of like, wow, this guy's going to be putting out like a ton of content. So yeah, there's been a few users here and there that have been following it, been getting a few ratings. I think that the first EP I put out peaked around the 120s for EPs of 2018. Probably helped that I put it out like 20 days into 2018. But it was still cool seeing that like enough people, cared to rate it and review it, and it got put on a nice little list. And now I feel like I have at least 5 or 6 people that are listening to each EP I put out regularly, which is 5 or 6 is 5 or 6 more people than I expected to. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it's kind of nice. Yeah.
And I've found that the metal scene is very supportive. It's very open-minded in a lot of ways. It takes
Yep.
so many.
Totally.
As far as live shows go, are you trying to pull this off live, or is this just more of kind of get out of your headspace and just throw down some really badass recordings?
Oh no, no live. The secret is that I'm actually not very good at guitar. So I don't think I could actually like do any of this crap live. It's a lot of studio magic. I mean, not a lot of studio magic, but there's definitely enough that doing it live with vocals would be pretty difficult. I also already tour regularly in another band. So fitting that into that schedule would be pretty difficult. Finding the musicians that could do it would be very difficult because, as we all know, in the metal scene, every metal drummer is already in 5 bands.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it would be very difficult. My buddy Mark, who's in several bands, Vampire Squid, and a couple others, Mad Rost, Parabolic, he would probably be the only person that I would ever ask to do it. But I just named 3
But
of
he
his
sounds
bands,
busy
and
as
I don't
shit.
think that's all of them. Yeah, he's a very busy guy, but he's a very talented drummer. So if I ever wanted to do it, he'd be the guy I'd hit up. But at this point in my musical career, both of us are touring full time, and I not only have that touring band and this project, I have another project that I do, and then I jam with friends and stuff. I work full time. It's just not particularly feasible to do this project live. But maybe next year, if it gets enough response and some well-intentioned but misguided metal label decides to support this silly project, and I have the resources to do it, like, who knows. But at this juncture, it's mostly just a studio thing.
Yeah, just for the kids at home.
Yep.
All the other projects you're doing, are they along the same kind of genre, got the same kind of feel to them?
One of them's called A Constant Knowledge of Death. We've put out 2 full lengths. It's more of a studio project as well, but we did manage to do a 3-show tour at the beginning of this year, which was very cathartic because I've been working on that project since as early as like 2012 or 2013, mostly studio. The big thing keeping us in the way of playing live is that our guitarist lives in Boston. So coming from Boston to California, like he grew up in Yorba Linda, but now that he's out there, it made it very difficult. But he happened to be home for the holidays, and we were like, and Mark was free enough to play drums for me, so we were able to do it for that very brief stint, which was really cool. We played a couple really, really cool shows. My other band is more of like a punk post-hardcore project in the vein of like La Dispute, Modest Mouse, just like nerdy, yelly, emotional post-hardcore. That one I'm just drumming for, and that one's a lot of fun. I really love that band a lot, and we've put out several full lengths. We're putting out a 3rd pretty soon here, and we tour just constantly. I think we've played like over a dozen shows this year already, just like locally. We're gearing up for a big tour in July, so that project is extremely busy.
Where are y'all headed in July? Hopefully not anywhere near Death Valley.
We'll see. I know that in July we're trying to head out to. It's going to be like kind of a short tour just because we all work full time, but it'll be supporting this next record we're putting out. We're going to hit like Arizona, Nevada, Northern California, and then just do like a bunch of local shows until late August, and then we plan on flying out to the East Coast and doing a quick little 4-day Massachusetts, New York, Philadelphia kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of
so
hopping
that'll be really
around.
nice.
Yeah, very awesome.
Yeah, hopping around. Just we're gonna be pressing a bunch of records, so we got to sell them somehow.
Yep. Yeah, you got to get out there. And touring always
exactly.
It always increases the amount of people that are gonna hear your stuff in general. A lot of people feel like it's
totally
the way it is now with distribution, as you can tell, obviously with the way Thrashing Mossdog is being presented. It's definitely more of just a chill out wherever you're at. You're not going to see it on a stage, but you're more than welcome to have it on all these different platforms. But with the idea of touring, a lot of people think it's a waste of time. They think it's a waste of money. But no matter where you go, even if there's 10 or 15 people, when you're able to engage with an audience, you're building a relationship with people in general that's like subconsciously it sticks. It's a totally different experience.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with the idea that touring is not a financially sound idea to do, especially on the first few you do. I'd say that the more you tour, the more financially lucrative it becomes. Because like on your first tour, every time, no matter where you're going, you're going to play a bunch of really bad shows because you just don't know anybody in the places you're going. You go to Arizona and the only place that's going to let you play is some like crappy dive bar in some city outside of a major city. Nobody's going to show up. Nobody knows you. But by the time you've done, 3 or 4 tours, you've made all these different networking connections across all these states. And by then, like, hopefully enough people that you can actually book a tour in like a ton of really, really good states and really good cities with strong scenes, get good bands on it because all these different people that can help you out. And I think that's about where we've gotten to with my punk band. We've done several tours and just know a ton of people all over the place. So we're hoping that this run of shows are all just like fantastic and we don't have any like dead days like we have in the past. But I guess even then, like, regardless, you're right. It's not a financially good idea. You're not going to make money, but it's
a lot of fun.
I don't really think it should be about that. It's fun. Like, it's fun. You get your music out there. You get to meet people. It's for the art. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that are like, no, you should get paid for your art, and like you should totally. But if you're doing this DIY, it's probably not going to happen. And the sooner you accept that fact, the more fun you're going to have.
Yeah, as long as you can hold your dignity. Like, you may not
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to play like you get paid anyway, and you come out of their head.
Yeah.
No matter what. So what are you trying to say with Thrashing Mossdog when you're just getting it all out? What's in there that is important for your listeners to know?
Lyrically, there's not a lot there, honestly. It's very like metal lyrics, just about monsters and just, creating like disgusting imagery like, most metal does. I definitely think that the first EP kind of shifted into somewhat of an allegory for like depression and how it can not only consume yourself, but it's consuming society, and it's definitely a health issue that's not being addressed by the greater medical community to the extent that it should be. Things have definitely gotten a lot better over the years, but mental health in general is largely ignored, especially by the US government. So in a very, 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 very third degree way, the lyrics are like a little bit about that, but mostly I'm just doing this for fun. Like, it's really just, if you can set yourself this goal of just, I want to make a shitload of music, then just do it. Like, there's nothing stopping you from doing it. Like, my big thing was coming home after work every day and just sitting down and watching TV or playing video games or whatever, and just like playing with my dog is cool, but like in general, I wasn't being particularly productive. It was definitely like negatively affecting my mental and physical health. So I just decided to make just a big change, and setting a goal for myself like that gave me the drive to do it. And now I'm making music like almost every day after work. Every day I come home, I'm writing or recording or doing something. And it's had an extremely positive influence on my entire life, just because once you're in a better mental state, everything improves. So
Do you feel burned out at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have those days for sure. But at the end of it, it's like I could feel burnt out and like sad that it's like really stressful. But on the other hand, if I wasn't like burnt out, then I'd just be like sad sitting in front of my TV. So I just kind of have to keep in mind that even like the worst day I have doing Thrashing Mossdog and like the most burnt out I get is still better than where I was last year.
For sure. That's a good perspective. That's a great perspective. It's recognition. It's all around. It's kind of like, I hate that cliche of like, pain is weakness leaving the body. But it's kind of that same thing as like, I'm fatigued. Oh, it's because I did a bunch of badass stuff. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just it's keeping your own limitations in mind and realizing that like if you're pushing your limits, then you're probably doing something to benefit yourself in the long run, to the point where you like, just don't make yourself sick.
All right, let's take a quick break here and listen to the song Aborted Genius off of the Stone Dominion album from, of course, Thrashing Mossdog. What do you do when you need to free yourself? Where do you go?
I tend to go out with friends. I actually tend I go play in one of my other bands. I have this studio, so sometimes when I don't feel like doing Thrashing Mossdog, but I also don't feel like going out and like TV's not particularly appealing, I'll just throw on a delay pedal on my amp and just like start making like trippy loops or whatever, and just like kind of get into a trance with it, and meditate on the music while like creating it. If I'm really burnt out on music and I'm like, I can't even touch a guitar right now, sometimes I'll like hit up a couple friends that live locally and we'll like head out to a bar, or just like whatever. We'll come over. I got a Nintendo Switch, so sometimes we'll play like Mario Kart or whatever.
Love me some
Sometimes
Mario
if I
Kart.
just oh yeah, it's so good, especially the new one. If I'm really burnt out on just everything, a lot of times I'll just like play with my dog for like an hour or two. Be like, hey, let's go to the park, dude. I don't care if it's dark. Let's go. And I know you're blind as shit, but we're gonna do it. So yeah, and he's like a really good like mental health boost too.
What
even
kind of
when I'm
dog?
like really burnt out. He's a corgi.
Corgi. All right.
Yeah, he's a little sweetheart.
You ever have any standoffs at the dog park? You ever gotta like tuck him in?
No, he's pretty good. He doesn't really bark or like bite or like fight other dogs or anything. He just like squares up.
Nice.
Like he'll just
Yeah.
like be like, oh, you're like sniffing me, and then just like get really like tense and just kind of be like, okay, this is happening. Okay, and then he's fine. And then he'll like walk back over to me and I'll be like, all right, you done? Yeah, and then he's good.
Love
he's an expressive little dude.
Awesome, man. Well, you sound like a very balanced individual. It's so great to be able to hold up to that challenge, and it sounds like you're on the right path. It sounds like you've got some really good ways of just kind of breaking yourself out of it and still holding true to it. That's really inspiring, I gotta say.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of time management.
Yeah.
It's like that's what it really comes down. And then just like keeping your mental health in check and just stepping away from the emotions and being like, it's not like when you're feeling down, you have to switch your mindset from I'm depressed to I am feeling depressed. It's like your emotions aren't you. Once you can kind of separate yourself from that, and at least in my experience, like this is all like my experience, my opinion, and I'm not speaking for anybody else with any kind of depression or mental health struggles, but in my experience, separating myself from the negative emotions that I'm feeling and taking the time to just meditate on them and do whatever necessary things I need to do to pull myself out of it or work my way through it, or just like let it flow over me for a day. Like whatever needs to happen, you just kind of got to let it happen, fighting against it or letting yourself be drawn into it isn't productive for anybody, especially yourself. But having this project to focus on has definitely been really good. Even on my worst days, like I can still sit down and just like knock out a song or something or whatever I'm doing, and if I'm not feeling it, just finding other things to improve my mood or distract myself, whatever I got to do. But yeah,
If I was just talking to you like in a restaurant or something, like we were waiting in line, I was like paying for my bill and the cashier walked away, and I looked back at you and we started chatting about this same very thing, I would not think that you would have produced what led me to find you. Yeah. With your attitude and your perspective, it's like I thought I would have found you maybe in like the ambient area.
oh, I love that shit too. So, I'm all about that 2814. I'm all about that stuff. So,
Yeah.
It goes back and forth. I go to noise shows and stuff too. It's all cool.
Yeah, it
Everything.
is. It is good. It's good to have that variety in your life, culture.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like I love pop music. I love math rock. I love jazz. I've been getting into a lot of different hip hop lately. I love metal. It's just like, you like what you like.
Yep.
It's like,
With that being said, is Thrashing Mossdog gonna be going back and forth between tearing down walls with different kinds of music that you're gonna be putting out, or how do you?
Yeah.
see that?
Yeah, definitely. This next EP that I'm putting out this month is going to kind of be the conclusion to the trilogy of the Mold Shambler. So it's going to be very much in the same vein that the last two have been. Maybe more like shorter songs, a little bit like grindier, I guess.
A little more punk.
At least what I've written so far.
Yeah.
For April, I'm gonna be breaking away a little bit and kind of like pushing more into like the hardcore punk area, and still slammy, still grindy like metal, but like vocally I definitely want to do a little more yelling than like gutturals. Gutturals are fun, but I've just been getting really into just like yelling a lot, so I want to do more of that. After April, I don't know, like I have a lot of songs that have just been kind of sitting around, and like I might try to redevelop them. But I definitely don't want to limit myself to just being a metal project. And I know that that's going to get me a lot of flack down the line, probably, or all these kids that have been listening to, the first few EPs are going to be like, what happened? This is like ambient pop. But like, whatever. I'm just going to make what I make. I'm not going to try to limit myself. I would actually say that I push more towards doing weirder stuff. Like I don't want to keep sticking with the same genre of music, because I'm just gonna burn myself out. Like I can only make so much, avant-garde deathcore until I just want to die. So I don't know. I just get influences from a lot of places, so I definitely want to pull from everywhere I can, and I definitely want to sing a little more in the future. That'd be kind of nice. Not that I have a great voice, but I'm going to get some auto-tuning. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Together.
So did you grow up in Long Beach?
No, I grew up in Orange, which is the center of Orange County. I moved to Long Beach about 7 years ago for college. I went to Cal State Long Beach.
What's
5 years.
The best thing about Long Beach?
Oh, the community for sure. Like it is just a melting pot. Like I know that term gets like really overused for like America as a whole, but the community in Long Beach is just so cool. Like you go 3 blocks in any direction and it feels like a completely different city. There's just tons to do, tons of great people to meet, very diverse. The music scene's really cool. There's a lot of really cool local bands and a lot of really good places to play. And just generally, like socially, I have a lot of friends that live out here. Partially just because I've been living out here for so long, and just developed in the music scene. But definitely I'd say the people's the best part. And then like a close second is just the amount of things to do, just like the amount of different local restaurants and thrift stores and record shops and great food. Like there's just great food.
How are the tacos over there?
Oh, I mean, great. Like there's a little local taqueria right down the street from my house that I walk to sometimes. You can get cabeza and lengua and whatever you want, all super cheap.
Yeah, we got to have a taco off one day. If you ever come to Texas, man, I'll show you around to some.
Oh yeah.
Prominent taco spots. We'll eat some tacos.
Yeah, I've been to Texas a couple times now, and your guys' barbecue is out of this world.
We do that shit right.
Vegan barbecue was amazing. Actually, that was like probably some of the best barbecue I ever had.
It's we're actually known for our vegan barbecue most of all, and our non-gender specific restrooms. That's Texas, and 2 things that we're known for. Yeah.
Both are good things. So.
Yes. But yeah, no, Texas, it's coming around. We're getting a little more progressive, but it's as far as food goes, where Tex-Mex and barbecue, I don't know. I just feel like you can't those genres of food.
What else do you need?
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
I get really sad when I go
you
other
don't need
places.
anything.
Like if I go to San Jose and it's like, no, dude, taco's not where you're at. Like we do kebabs, like a motherfucker. I'd be like, fuck your kebabs. Like I don't want my stuff on a splintery stick. Like I'm tired of it. I'm tired of getting that handed a kebab.
There's some good Mexican places in San Jose. There's that chain La Victoria. It's like insane. I go there every time I'm in San Jose.
Yeah, that's just how uncultured I am. Though, like the food in California. How is that?
It's a lot of Mexican food and In-N-Out.
Exotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just I've traveled a lot, but I go to like national parks and stuff. Man, I just like
Mm.
I always want to go. I want to go to like Long Beach is on the checklist. Yeah, I did want to go to San Jose, but then I learned how it's just taken over completely by tech. I'm just not interested anymore. But yeah,
it's
California's beautiful, man. It's just so far away from me.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is quite far. Having driven to y'all before, it is quite far.
Yeah, but I'll get there soon. But
I do like Texas. Like, it's a really cool state. I was at South by last year with my punk band. That was fun. We've been to Houston, Austin, and then we played in a little city just east of Dallas called Denton.
Yep.
And Denton was really cool.
Yeah, Denton's a really popular,
really like Denton a lot.
popular music scene.
Where did you guys?
Yeah,
play,
I loved
South
Denton.
by,
It
you
was
know?
so. We played at a collective space that I don't remember the name of, but it was the Top Shelf Records showcase.
Oh, cool.
So that was a lot of fun.
South
yeah,
by's
that was
going on
crazy.
right now.
Like,
Yeah, we were just up there last night.
Yep.
yes, it is. Yeah, my friends in Awake But Still in Bed are on the way right now.
Oh wow,
They're gonna kill it.
I just talked to them actually.
Oh, really?
Like 6 episodes ago. That's really funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, we just played with them like 2 days ago.
Very cool.
Well, on Saturday. Yeah, in Upland. Yeah, Shannon.
Shout
is
out
great.
Shannon.
Yeah, shout out to Shannon. Shannon's awesome. And their record's super good. I'm really stoked for them. They just like are blowing up. It is nuts.
It's really
Like,
cool.
They just dropped that record and then immediately just like Tiny Engine signing, and then Joyce Manor was like, go on tour with us, and I was like, wow, super impressive. And they're just making absolutely incredible music. It's so cathartic and beautiful.
It's so vulnerable and just honest. And it was just it really blew my mind. I read all those lyrics just like it was poetry, and
oh yeah.
And so I kind of looked past any imperfections. And a little short story on that. We got randomly selected to be reviewed by another podcast that reviews podcasts. And they literally drew us at random. Yeah, it was like pick a category, pick a rating. And so we were like 148 or something in iTunes. And they picked the Awake But Still in Bed episode. And
that's so funny.
Yeah, my 7-year-old did the intro. So he's like, this little squeaky voice or whatever. And then we usually just cut and go straight into the band. That's kind of our format. Do a little intro and then go straight into the band. Well, I started out with one of the songs where she just kind of comes right out of the gate screaming. And the guy's kind of voicing over and he's like, oh my God, did they light the kid on fire? Like, what happened? So
that's great.
It's so funny because I don't know, man. I look past anything where like critical. I'm not in this to criticize people. Actually, I'm really just here to kind of extract your story. I have a hard time doing that. But Shannon, if you heard that episode, fuck that guy. That's what I say. That guy just he's making a living off other people's podcasts. It ain't cool. Nah, but we'll talk about that later. I have a whole special thing about the podcast rodeo. Yeah, podcast rodeo. I'm coming for you. Don't worry, man. Let's take a break here and listen to another song off of the album Stone Dominion. This is actually the opening track. It's called Divine Invocation. But anyway, man, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to boost out there? Anything that we left out? Shoot, the floor is yours.
No, not really. Just thanks for having me. This is really cool. How'd you guys find me, out of curiosity?
Bandcamp. Yep.
Just searching genres?
What I do is when I'm looking for new music, I usually just go to new arrivals, and then I just do all genres normally. But with this particular month, everything that I did was going to be for metal. So I just kind of surfed all the little subgenres as well, and I found you in thrash. And yeah, you're there's a lot of really horrible thrash. Sorry. Thrash people, and then there was some good thrash, and I kind of just had to narrow it down because I kind of wanted. There's only 6 bands, so of like the 100 that we listened to, we narrowed it down to like 20, and then of that 20, we picked 6, and so this one just really stood out. The presentation, the artwork is fucking rad. It's wild, and so I'll be of course putting that on our Instagram and stuff like that, so all of that will be available. And yeah, I just use Bandcamp so that I can find the things that are out right now. My goal is to get music that's being made right now.
Sick. Cool. Well, speaking of art, big shout out to Julia for making both of the record covers, and they're also making the third one for this next EP. You can check them out on Instagram at GooseXMachina. Her work is just so insane. And she's also a very good friend in a very awesome band called Tombe Leve. Highly recommend checking them out if you like mathy folk punk. It's just super tight craziness.
Well, put in a good word for me, and send them my way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they're super awesome. I think they're writing right now, so I'm sure they'd be down to talk about
very cool
what they got going on. So yeah, they're a super rad band.
Well, James, thanks for talking to us, man, and we wish you the best of luck. Can't wait to hear the third installation.
Yeah, hopefully March 27th. That's the goal. March 27th, Apotheosis, the conclusion to the Mold Shambler trilogy.
The Mold Shambler.
Catch it on Bandcamp. And then hopefully I'm going to take all 3 of them and pseudo release it as like not really a full length, but I'm just going to throw them all together and put them on Spotify as one thing. Maybe make some tapes, maybe make some mini discs, who knows?
Mini
whatever.
Discs? Are those coming back?
Yeah. No, but I know a guy.
But I know a guy. He's got the label maker and everything.
The one guy I know that had one was Arnold Schwarzenegger in Last Action Hero.
They've made their way into a few James Bonds.
That's actually the guy I know. So,
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Jack Slater.
Oh, Jack Slater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Badass, dude. Well, send me one.
Yeah, will do. Thank you guys so much. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Have a great night, brother.
Thanks,
all right, you too.
Later. Thank you so much, James. Muchas gracias from Texas, man. Before we dive into this episode's very interesting fact forged from metal, we're going to listen to one more song off of the Stone Dominion EP. It is available on Bandcamp. It's the second installation in his little third-part series here. Your little third-part thing, your little trilogy. Go check it out. It's super dope. And as you heard, just another week, you're going to get another one. So if you really like the project, there's plenty more to come. Get yourself a mini disc player and prepare for the future. This is Thrashing Mossdog. Enjoy. Facts forged from metal. It is time for another fact forged from metal. Today we visit Baltimore, Maryland in 2003. Blake Harrison and Mark Sloan combined forces in one impeccably genius move and employed a 27-year-old Congo African gray parrot named Waldo to front their band Hatebeak. And in 2004, they released their first of 4 albums, The Beak of Putrefaction. And although the band has never toured for fear of injuring Waldo's sensitive yet hardcore eardrums, they have gone on to release such albums as Birdseeds of Vengeance, That Thing That Should Not Beak, and in 2015 they released The Number of the Beak, even splitting one album with a band Caneus, whose 2 lead singers were in fact pit bulls. That'll do it for today's Fact Forged from Metal. We hope you all have learned something. Well, that just wraps it on up, doesn't it? Thank you so much, Thrashing Mossdog. Thank you so much, William Anderwald from Whiskey Ignition, for coming and co-interviewing. It's been a long time. Shout out, Bo. I miss you, Bo. Come on back here. Still have a couple more interviews for March Mad Metalness next week. Or actually, this week, Saturday. We talked to Arkanside. You do not want to miss it. Alright? You guys don't miss it. I have a feeling you're not going to, because I've gotten a tremendous response from everybody. It's been an amazing month. We're only halfway through. Shouts out to Destroyer of Worlds for this very amazing outro, intro. Another restless thought for the Facts Forged from Metal Music, and thank you to all of our listeners. You guys take care of one another.